Plenty at stake for these two sides tonight. And talking of steak, here is Barry McDermott.
Oh, Bill, you've got me licking my licks. Well, I like my steak rare with a little bit of blood, nice and spicy. I think we might get some elements of that tonight, but emotion will play a part. The team that controls that emotion will take the points. I agree with the lads. I think Hull KR are in for a big night, and expect to see Jack Walker in his 4th game for Hull KR sniff around the play of the ball and find those offloads in support.
Are you drooling, John Wilkin?
Not really. Not next to Barry McDermott. Very rarely do I drool in his company.
Well, it's Hull KR who have possession with the game underway. And Jack Smith, the referee at Sewell Group Craven Park this evening. Chris Kendall is the video ref. And of course, Hull KR with a bit of a score to settle. Not just Wembley, but 2 previous defeats this season at the hands of the Leigh Leopards. They have been mauled by the Leopards 3 times this season. So there is a bit of a score to settle.
Yeah, consistent feature of all of Hull KR's performances against Leigh has been errors. Willie Peters mentioned it before the game, and John Wells even referenced it in the cycle. Well, the cycle revolves around not coughing up possession cheaply, and if they just do that tonight, we're going to be in for a cracker.
Blood already on the face of George King, we saw there, just in this challenge.
Head clash, isn't it, as he's taking the ball, carrying it forward. Defensively, Hull KR can really impose themselves on this game. We know what Leigh Leopards can do. You've got to get up quick and don't give them time to play.
There is George King. That is a bit of a mess. And he's still out there. Leigh with possession. Here is Oliver Gildart, an unusual position for him because he's Hull KR in 2024.
Yeah, strange.
Seeing out the rest of this season in league colours. Now then, Jack Smith has called a halt, yes, having seen George King's
He's going to have to leave the field.
Face.
He's going to have to leave the field and get that stitched up.
I did say it, didn't I?
Yeah, he's tough, but we've got to get him off the pitch. I think it's just a tiny head clash. I think it's just the subtlest of head clashes, right on the point of your cheek. You're prone to cutting in that area and your eyebrows. So we'll get him off. There's not much in it. I don't think it's a HIA assessment just because it's just a cut that needs a stitch. He'll be back on the field, no doubt.
Well, they're going to do a Farrell on him, aren't they?
Farrell. Yeah, that's nice.
I'm not sure. Well,
crack on. We love it, don't we? Just get on with it.
I can remember seeing somebody else in a Challenge Cup final like that.
Yeah.
Ugly as sin.
I know.
2006?
2006. Well, you couldn't see my nose. That was Paul Anderson broke my nose in that game. My own player. Friendly fire.
Yeah.
It's Ben Reynolds.
I know where he's coming from.
Jack Hughes. It can't help your breathing, having that strap round your nose.
Drop that.
Yeah, there we go. So referee Jack Smith spotted that.
Big celebrations from Hull KR, and John's right about last week and prior to Wembley, as well as the Wembley game itself being costly for errors in Hull KR, in the Hull KR ranks. But when you see the importance of John Asiata and that ball playing that we talk about, Andy makes a mistake and the psychological lift that give the Robins.
First time I've seen John Asiata rattled was last week. I thought Catalan did a job on him. They flew out the line, they were physical. Mickey McLaurin in particular just put hands on him, got penalised a few times for doing it. It's probably the worst performance I've seen from John Asiata, who's been just star quality for Leigh, hasn't he, all year?
So Hull KR with the ball back after that error from the Leigh Leopards, their first of the game. And an opportunity as Kane Lynette plays the ball. Here is Minchella back in the side after a one-game ban. Batchelor now, James Batchelor. KR's top tackler at Wembley in the defeats in extra time by Leigh. Now then, here's the bandage king, and more treatment for him. Ipape in there to make the tackle. Minchella, Schneider, stepping back in field, Mikey Lewis, and Lewis, for a smallish guy, he really is a powerful figure. There's a Leigh player down in back play. It's Hardacre. Meanwhile, O'Brien has to come to the rescue. Yeah, problems for Was it Zach Hardacre on that far side?
Yeah, one of the Leigh players is down on the far side. It's a beautiful kick from Schneider. He just drops it on his right foot, finds the in goal. Looks like it's Josh Charnley who's down.
I've been really interested watching him warm up. We know he's gone into this game, it's Zach Hardacre, just getting back to his feet, but watching Josh Charnley, he's still carrying those ribs. Picked up a knock, didn't he, last week? But the wily old characters, aren't they, Charnley and Hardacre?
So O'Brien with the goal line dropout, and Hull KR have possession and another opportunity to exert some pressure. Here is King once more, the Irish international who has been a stalwart this season for KR in 23 of the 26 games they've played so far. Little step from Tom Opicic inside that Leigh 10 now. It's Lewis Senior, preferred on the wing this evening by Willie Peters. 4 tackles gone. Leigh managing to keep them at bay at the moment, but here's Minchella. Minchella weaving his way towards the line, then manages to offload to nobody in particular. Walker picks it up, Schneider, and Schneider with the run. But Edwin Ipape makes an end, puts an end to that illegally.
Yeah, it's judged that Edwin Ipape's tipped in above the horizontal. I mean, that's...
Really?
It's not, is it? I just don't think there's a penalty in that. I mean, his legs do just fractionally go over the horizontal, but as soon as Schneider starts going, obviously he tries to get to ground. A lot of the time, we see the actual attacking players instigate the fall to the ground by trying to find the floor. I don't think there's anything fundamentally wrong with Ipape's tackle. It's a harsh penalty, but Hull KR will take it. Brad Schneider will opt to go for 2 here, and it just settled them down.
And it came off the back of a couple of offloads. You'd say it's a scruffy one at best from Elliot Minchella. Coming back into the side, really brings some energy, but he brings direction. He's very similar to Asiata in his distribution skills and his organisation, and trusted by the Hull KR side to look after those early passes.
Yeah, I think Elliot Minchella's hugely important for how this team attack. He was missing last week, obviously. Coming back into the team, he's got a big job. With this man, Schneider, who's taking the penalty goal.
Schneider, who has been pretty influential since he arrived at Hull KR from Canberra, with 2 very important drop goal winners. And there's a penalty to put the first points on the board after 6 minutes.
Hardly touched the ball here, Leigh Leopards. We make it pretty much 70-30 possession. I know we've only had 6 minutes or so, but you know, we talk about tiredness, fatigue. They'll have refreshed and tried to get some energy back in the legs and the lungs of these players, but it can really drain you doing too much tackling early in the game.
Okay, are dominating possession. George King seeing plenty of the ball. I'm surprised he can see plenty of the ball with that thing.
He can see okay, it's just breathing. It might be a problem for him, but he's got a job to do, and he knows his team need him, and they know they can rely on him to do it.
Parcell, Schneider and Batchelor, but Batchelor runs into some solid Leigh defence just inside his own 30. Plays the ball, and Lewis Senior back in the side after missing the last 2 games, working his way forward, still going. Eventually they get hold of one of those long legs and get him down to the ground. There's another Leigh player.
It's Robbie Mulhern.
Robbie Mulhern is the player having some treatment, so that's the 2nd knock of the game. Hardacre's been treated. On the last, Schneider with the kick, and Gareth O'Brien underneath it.
I think the Leigh players going down raises an issue, Bill. I think we spoke pre-match about how long the middles play for Leigh and how Adrian Lamb keeps them out on the field. Look, I think partially that's down to him wanting his best players out there, but it's also a sign of how thin Leigh's squad is. I think the challenge will be for them at the back end of the year, if they do pick up injuries to Robbie Mulhern, to John Asiata, then it's what's plan B.
Mulhern back up on his feet. And Leigh with their hands on the ball. And looking to keep their hands on the ball as Gildart gets the pass away to Charnley, and Charnley down on that left-hand side, ball inside to Lamb, and Lamb is brought down. Good covering tackle.
Ryan Hall from the left wing there, Bill, doing a fantastic covering job.
Charnley Here is Ben Reynolds now. Well, the first meaningful attack of the game is coming from the Leigh Leopards as O'Brien puts a little kick in, and it's just too strong.
It's smart.
That's beautiful from Leigh. Let's be honest, that's the first little bit of shape and ball movement we've seen from them. Wonderful footwork from Oliver Gildart. Gets Josh Charnley away. Look at that. Skips and evades, finds a pass. And then because Ryan Hall came over to make that tackle, all the space and the opportunity was on Hull KR's left, Leigh Leopards right, and that's just where they go. Great play from the Leopards.
That's an indication of their intent this evening.
Yeah, it's some tackle this from Ryan Hall, all the way from the left wing, but like Barry mentioned, that left a gap. Gareth O'Brien just overcooked the kick, and the net result is here now. Hull KR have the ball on the halfway line. And that's the impact of getting your kicks wrong. Fantastic
set restart as well, John, signalled. So KR immediately bouncing back. But a warning to them of what this Leigh Leopard side can offer. And an illustration maybe to Hull KR supporters what Oliver Gildart might offer next season when he's in Hull KR colours. Here they come with Minchella now. Minchella, Schneider, Mikey Lewis, and Lewis is brought down.
Just all a bit lateral, that. It needs just somebody to square somebody up defensively. It looks good, it's ball movement, but it's ineffective.
Here is George King once more. That's the fifth tackle. About 15 metres out. Minchella on it comes to Schneider. Schneider, short ball, and Sean Kenny down. Sean Kenny down with the first try of the night. Stumbling onto that pass. Lovely short ball as he came back against the grain. And the veteran gets the first try of the night. His fifth try of the season in Super League.
Well, there you go. Hard, strong, against the grain, just as Wilco has been asking for. It needs somebody to just straighten it up. You can see Ben Reynolds going lateral because he's expecting that pass to go lateral too.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic from Minchella, and this is a line, isn't it? For young players who want to see how to change the line as the ball's in the air. Sean Kennedale's a master at just altering his line ever so slightly. He does it now just out of shot. He drops onto the inside shoulder of the Leigh defender. A sharp line like that just cuts in stark contrast to the shift play we saw the one before where I was questioning it. That is a clinical line from, I believe, one of the best overseas signings we've seen.
Well, he's in his final KR season as Sean Kennedale. That is his first try since March the 3rd, when he scored against the Leigh Leopards, in actual fact. They will miss him. He has been such an influence on this club, Sean Kennedale. As you'd imagine, a player of his experience and reputation. And this guy's been an influence in his brief association. Brad Schneider, Canberra's Rookie of the Year last year. Two more points to his name. And Hull KR lead by 8 points to 0.
Yeah, good for the lead. Beautiful piece of skill. Look, these are the stats from the Challenge Cup. I thought Sean Kennedale was exceptional. 22 carries, 98 metres, 4 tackle breaks, 4 floods. In the Challenge Cup final, in a losing team, one of the best performances I've seen. And this is a sensational line from Sean Kennedale.
Just going back to what you guys were saying, that kick that Leigh put in was just misjudged. Bang! Up the other end of the pitch, and Hull KR
7 tackles set, but not just that. Having put so much energy and emphasis on the attack, the transition part of the game for Leigh, and we've already seen 2 players go down, Hardacre, Rob Mulhern. It just alters the pattern and alters the cycle.
It's been a bad start for Leigh, hasn't it? Penalty, error from John Asiat, a poor kick from Gaz O'Brien, and then a poor piece of defence there. So probably 4 or 5 things in the negative column, which Adrian Lamb really probably hasn't had to address so much this year.
Hull KR looking for victory this evening after a poor run of form. They have won only 3 of their last 11 in Super League. And that's a real contrast. They won 8 of their opening 11 games under Willie Peters, but they've been on the slide, albeit they've been to Wembley as well. But they've slipped down the table as far as Super League standing goes. They're 7th in the table. Mikey Lewis with a kick towards Tom Briscoe, and Briscoe beaten to the ball. Lewis has it back. It's still on the last, and Lewis gets away from that challenge. Still on the last, and Lewis still going. Eventually they'll turn it over.
You can't
It
tackle
took
him.
some stopping there, Mikey Lewis.
Wow.
And you said about his strength for his size. Well, he's just got a balanced running style.
Hang on.
It's a penalty.
I think they come back for that high tackle that made the crowd uproar, didn't it? And I guess Hull KR, the week for Willie Peters would have been easy. They're playing against a team that's beaten them on a big stage. There's the head contact, minimal for me, but there you go. So all he's got to do, Willie Peters, is just make sure the selection is right, everybody's rested, and they've got the right direction of travel.
So Leigh under pressure again from that penalty. Here is Batchelor. Ipapi and Robbie Mulhern doing the tackling. Matt Parcells starting this evening. Short pass, and it's Minchella, I think, who's got that ball down. He has. He's just powered his way through. Jack Smith reckons it's the try. But video ref this evening, Chris Kendall, is going to have a look at that. I'm not sure what he's looking at. Is it?
I think it's possession. I think it's a try, Bill, but they're just checking whether he maintains control as he puts the ball down.
I think it's Minchella.
Yeah, it is.
Quickly.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, it's tackle 2. Go straight to grounding, please. Got a live call try. Does he maintain possession? Minchella is in possession at this point. Reaches out.
Oh, wow.
And grounds the ball. I'm happy with the angle I need. I've made my decision.
Yeah, the easiest decision of the year. What a start he's had, Elliot Minchella. A couple of offloads that have really caused problems for Leigh Leopards.
No doubt about it, Elliot Minchella back in the side this evening from suspension, gets his fourth try of the season, powering through onto that ball, and this is a real purple patch for the Robins.
Yeah, it's Mikey Lewis just showing how elusive he is, how dangerous he is. He draws a marginal high tackle off Tom Briscoe. That wins his side the penalty, but it just showcases the dangerous running threat that Mikey Lewis is. We spoke about Minchella. I believe he's a leader for Hull KR. Look, he usually ball plays and organises ball movement, but that's a strong carry and another direct line from Hull KR that's punched through the inside of Leigh's defence. A great start here for the Robins.
And a straightforward conversion for Brad Schneider. 2 from 2 for him so far this evening. And to make it 14 points to 0 already. 15 minutes on the clock, and it's a flying start for the Robins.
It is a basic try, it is a simple try. It's brave to carry that ball with the ferocity that close to the line. Running at Gareth O'Brien, of course, who's at fullback, probably has other things going on in his mind, thinking about solving something that's not there. But think back to that challenge cut Wilcourt. Sin bin for Elliot Minchella. He had mixed involvements. Yeah. That's a very determined character right there who wants to right some of those wrongs tonight.
Yeah, it does, and he's a leader. I think he'll be the next captain of Hull KR in the years to come. He's got a real presence in this team.
I'm sure Tony Smith gave him a leadership role. If it wasn't co-captain, it might have been assistant vice captain.
How modern.
Stay responsive, Zach.
Here's Ryan Hall. Leigh looking for a response. They, of course, lost to the Catalan Dragons last week. Only their third loss in their last 18 league and cup matches. They haven't tasted defeat very often this season, the Leopards. Been a remarkable campaign for them, and of course there could be more drama even after their Wembley success. Elsewhere, Salford 8-0 up against bottom of the table Wakefield. Salford vying with Hull KR for this top 6 positions. Here is Gareth O'Brien. And St Helens are 6-0 up against the Castleford Tigers.
It's been a clean start for Hull KR here, hasn't it? You know, John Wells spoke to Willie Peters about the cycle. Well, this is almost picture perfect for what getting into a good cycle looks like. just getting to the end of your sets, not turning over possession, and off the back of that being clinical and executing with your attack. Willie Peters and Danny Maguire, his number 2, will be delighted with how this first 17 minutes has unfolded.
Here is Josh Charnley on a very sultry evening in East Yorkshire. Very humid. We've had flashes of lightning in the distance over on the east coast, and the odd drop of rain as well, as Lachlan Lamb, under a bit of pressure, gets the kick away. Jack Walker comes to claim it. First threat for him, first real challenge for the fullback selected this evening. Signed from the Bradford Bulls for the rest of the season.
There you go.
And
there you go. That's what he gives you,
offload.
Jack Walker. Hunts for the ball. It was a nice offload from the old stager, Ryan Hall.
Yeah. How big are Ryan Hall and Sean Kenny-Dowell in that department? You know, getting his team on the front foot. Wow, that's some tackle.
Parcell across the field. Tackled just outside that Leigh 40. 4 tackles gone. Here's Minchella. Reese Kennedy. Kennedy offloads. Ooh, and Schneider is first there. Almost beaten to it by John Asiata.
It's working for him, Bill. I think Jamie Jones-Buchanan, before the game, our studio guest, predicted that this is how the evolution of Hull KR.
Oh, Briscoe's put that down. It's gone backwards. No, says the referee. No sympathy for the man making his 400th career appearance this evening, Tom Briscoe.
They're not getting anything this evening, the Leopards. Tom Briscoe, with all that experience, having dealt with situations like this hundreds of times. The kick, target, Sean Kenny-Dowell.
But the kick just gives his chasers. Mikey Lewis' kick gives Kane Lynette, Sean Kenny-Dowell the right amount of time just to get under it. Well, unsure.
Where's the knock-on?
Yeah, but it is what it is, isn't it? Hull KR possession. And you've got to credit the accuracy of the kick and the timing of the chase, which just puts Tom Briscoe under some pressure, which means he fumbles it.
He has been. That's the second time they've targeted him, and the second time the ball has ended up in Hull KR hands. It's in Hull KR hands now, and they're 10 metres away and threatening once more. Minchella on it comes to Schneider. Schneider on it goes to Mikey Lewis. Lewis weaving, stepping. Lovely ball. Ryan Hall. Oh, acrobatic finish, but not awarded yet. Jack Smith wants to know about the grounding because that was spectacular, balletic from Ryan Hall. Chris Kendall's going to have a look at this.
Okay, tackle 1, we're checking touch and then into grounding, please. So the ball's offloaded. Okay, it's going to be that first step from Hall. I need to work out if he stays in the field of play. It's the first step when he takes possession. Yeah, if we could see the reverse angle, please. Okay, yeah, that angle is going to be no good. Yeah, it's just going to be that corner angle again then, please. If this is the best angle to make the judgment on. Okay, so he's in the field of play on the footage, so we can roll it through, stays in the field of play, and grounds the ball. I'm happy I've viewed the angles I need. I've made my decision.
I'll tell you what, if he puts his foot flat on the floor, I think those beautiful black boots that make it easy for us to see where he is on the field might just touch the line.
He's hit a bit of a drought, says Ryan Hall, in Super League. No tries in the last 5 games. He's broken his drought with that finish. Takes him to double figures in Super League for the season.
Another mistake, isn't it, from the Leopards that present the opportunity. I get what you're saying about Tom Briscoe being the preferred target, Bill, but I think it's more about Sean Kenny-Dowell and how much pressure he puts on the players that are there to collect it, and of course the ever reliable Kane Lynette. Anyway, they get the ball, nice sweeping play, and that short nuggety running style that he's got makes people go on the heels. Mikey Lewis, that's just a brilliant finish from Ryan Hall.
Yeah, it's a great finish from Ryan Hall, but Tom Briscoe's adjudged to make the error, then comes up with nothing defensively. Zach Hardaker did quite a good job at managing the threat of Lewis and made a strong tackle Tom Briscoe just gets caught in between, comes up with nothing, but an exceptional finish from Ryan Hall.
Most difficult conversion attempt so far this evening for Brad Schneider. Kicked 4 from 4 at Wembley. This one just across the face of the posts after that try from Ryan Hall. And I tell you what, the two 35-year-olds in the three quarters for Hull KR, Sean Kenny-Dowell and Ryan Hall.
Well, I think the measure of a culture and an environment is not only how your young players develop, but what you get out of your best senior players. Look, Mikey Lewis is developing into a dangerous threat, a ball carrier, lovely flick pass. That catches Tom Briscoe out, and then an amazing finish from Ryan Hall. Spoke about Sean Kenny-Dowell's performance in the Challenge Cup final in defeat. Well, Ryan Hall's was equally spectacular, 268 metres, and every carry was destructive in that game.
And no doubt the coaching staff would have had a look at last week's game, the way that Catalan Dragons really went at Leigh Leopard's right edge. A lot of decisions to be made. And as we say, over on the outside, you don't just have to make good tackles, you have to make good decisions. And the decision by Briscoe to come in cost his side.
Yeah, and this is what Ryan Hall does so well, just leaves scattered rucks, then the game speeds up a little bit, and then Sean Kenny-Dowell does the same, and all of a sudden Hull KR then roll down the field.
Rhys Kennedy playing the ball, Matt Parcell. Set restart signalled.
It's too fast, isn't it?
Elliot Minchella.
Too fast for the Leopards. They're desperately trying to slow the play the ball down. All the opening quarter has been about the home team, and again 70-30 possession, and they've done 112 tackles so far, Leigh Leopards, in this game.
That's put Ryan Hall under a little bit of pressure though. That's a speculator from Mikey Lewis, and Ryan Hall is eventually subdued by the Leopards.
It's one of those, Bill, at the minute as well. What you say is Leigh are tired because of the cup final and the emotional baggage. They're tired because they've just turned over loads of possession, conceded loads of penalties. They've made nearly 120 tackles here already. So that's if they look lethargic, that's why.
Hull KR are not even at 40 yet, so a massive difference in terms of energy expended in defence.
Fifth tackle, Schneider is on the ground, so it's Mikey Lewis who gets the kick away. High kick for Gareth O'Brien. But another very experienced campaigner, Gareth O'Brien. He's on his 7th Super League club, and great that he has tasted success.
That was heavy contact on that kick chase from Robbins. Really rocked his head back, Gareth O'Brien.
Busy night. St Helens in control already against the Castleford Tigers. Saints, like the Leigh Leopards, looking for a top 2 finish. Catalan Dragons, the leaders, against Wigan tomorrow. What a game that's going to be, a game you can see on Sky Sports. Reynolds with the kick, straight into the arms of Jack Walker. Has his place in history, Jack Walker, the youngest Super League Grand Final winner with Leeds in 2017, aged 18 years and 60 days. He outdid Stevie Ward. Penalty goes to Hull KR.
And that's a legacy again of that ruck speed, the way that Hull KR are dictating how fast they play the ball, and then that inability for the Leopards to get back on side and cope with it.
Yeah, I think you're mad to kick to Hull KR's left edge, because what you get then is Sean Kenny-Dowell on play 2. Ryan Hall will often follow up. If I was kicking anywhere, I'd be kicking over to seniors side and trying to keep Kenny-Dowell and Hall out of this game as much as possible.
Well, the traffic is all heading towards the Leigh line at the moment, and here is Sam Luckley off the bench to add his enthusiasm.
I presume that means that George King will go and get some stitches in that wound.
Belatedly. Luckley plays the ball. Here is Minchella. Minchella likes that run against the angle. Here comes Parcell, and Leigh was almost caught napping then, allowing him to run, and he's trying to get the ball down. He's lost it. Reynolds salvaged the situation, and Leigh celebrates survival there.
The quicker the ruck gets for Hull KR, the more you'll see Matt Parcell inject himself into the game. Obviously, that's an ambitious go at scoring a try. He's probably a little bit disorientated in terms of where he is in regards to the try line, but when he's going and he's jumping out from 9, that means the ruck speed is good for the Robins.
It's the first blip for Hull KR as well, and it's just a misjudgment from Matt Parcell. It was risk-reward. There was no chance he was going to get that ball down, and he just presents an opportunity for Tom Amoni to attack the ball.
So Leigh have possession inside their own 10. Here is Josh Charnley, Mr. Dependable. He's only missed 1 game this season. And second to Tom Johnston in terms of Super League try scoring in this campaign. Mulhern.
Surrender! Stand! Goal 3.
Salford Red Devils 8-0 up against Wakefield Trinity at half-time. And latest score, St Helens extending their lead 24-0 against the Castleford Tigers. Oof, oh, dear me, that was ambitious.
I think, again, the reason that you see a couple of ineffective players from Tom Amon and Asiata is the dominance that Hull KR have got.
And tell you what, Lachlan Lamb gets to his feet there and plays the ball, and he looked towards Tom Amon and said, what was I supposed to do with that? Very nearly proved costly. Here is Walker. Walker, nice offload to Hall, but he is immediately collared by his former Leeds colleague, Tom Briscoe.
It's interesting. I think fatigue, what it's done to Leigh, has made them go away from everything that sort of worked for them. Subtle plays through John Asiata, using big men around him. But there we see him throw the ball 20 yards across the behind the ruck, and it's just not something we've seen them do all year. So in fatigue, you do strange things.
Get back here, come on.
Dean Hadley playing the ball. Another good position for Hull KR now to impose more trouble, and there is more trouble. And is it a try for Lewis Senior? Has he got that one down? Or I think he's slithered out of play.
If he has got this, he's judged it perfectly. I can't believe he didn't get that ball out in front of him.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Okay, it's tackle 3. We're checking the ground in play, so we're going straight to touch. Seniors in possession. Okay, I need to check that ground in place. Okay. Okay, he's in field, so but the decision now is around, is the ball grounded? Is there separation from the hand, fingers, or... We've got a live call of try. Okay, yeah, the first angle is probably going to be the best one, unless there is anything else. I need to prove separation to overturn the live call. Have I got sufficient evidence to say that there is separation? He's in possession. Okay, there is fingers on the ball at all times. I'm happy I've viewed the angles I need. I've made my decision.
Lewis Senior, brought into the side this evening by Willie Peters, looks as though he's got his 6th try of the season, just managing to get that ball down before he found the sideline, just in the nick of time to extend Hull KR's lead. They are dominating proceedings here against the Leigh Leopards. 22-0 they lead now.
Yeah, again, it's Minchella moving the ball. Schneider, and look at Opacic's line there. That creates space for Jack Walker and Senior. Wow, it's an ugly finish. Wow, it didn't look great. But it's the same number of points as Ryan Hall's acrobatics in the other corner. I'm loving the combination of Schneider and Minchella through the middle of the field. And then they've used the centres really smartly. We've seen a try from Kenny Dowell running the line. Opacic running the line to create space there. Senior with the try, but it was crafted through Minchella and Schneider.
Just his 11th appearance of the season, Lewis Senior. But Willie Peters having faith with him. Derek Beaumont, Neil Jukes alongside him, their side. Well, they haven't experienced this so many times this season, the Leigh Leopards being second best.
If you look at the second half last week, Catalan were clinical and dominated Leigh, punished them. Hull KR have been squeaky clean here and have just put Leigh to the sword.
I can think of one Leigh Leopards attack in the entire first 28.5 minutes.
I just think the Robins have suffocated them, haven't they? Dictated the pace and tempo of this game perfectly.
Schneider looking to get things back on target, but another difficult conversion. This is from the other side of the field, and not his favoured side, but this looked as though it was going to make it, but he just drops it short. But 22-0.
Well, it was set up, and you've already mentioned two players who were pivotal in the try that was scored. It's a nice pass from Elliot Minchella, Schneider, but look at the time that Jack Walker just absorbs, just to create. He delays that pass and gives Lewis Senior enough time to get the ball down. I agree with you, it's the ugliest finish I've ever seen him in life.
Yeah. It was smart from Jack Walker. The temptation is just to fire it straight across to Senior. He held it maybe 2 steps, and that just affected the Leigh's defence, his ability to go and stop that. Really smart, really sharp from OKR.
George King we saw go off, needing treatment. Let's join Jenna on the sideline.
Yeah, evening, Bill. That was after a head clash early on in this game. I can tell you he has gone straight down the tunnel with the club, Dr. Gemma Phillips, to have that stitched up.
Thanks, Jenna.
Well, Leigh need to do something now, Wilco. What are Leigh thinking here?
Well, they've just got to get in the competition. They've got to produce a period of maybe 10-15 minutes that's clean and tidy, no errors, no penalties, and do the self-same thing to OKR as what OKR are doing to them, is make them get fatigued, put them into difficult places. Because at the minute, actually, Leigh are being outcompeted in pretty much every facet of the game by OKR. I think OKR have carried more intently, like this, through Minchella, and then they've had execution and detail off the back of it.
Fifth tackle, and they're running it, and the ball then bobbles into touch. You know, the last time Leigh were in this situation, a deficit like this, was at Catalan when they were 20-0 down. Then they managed to haul it back to 20 points to 18 by half-time.
They'll
so
do
if they
well.
get the ball in their hands...
Yeah, they'll do well to get back into this game.
But that's
I don't know whether there's a little bit of tiredness, fatigue, lethargy. I don't know. I think we sometimes try and make excuses.
I tell you what, though, is the way to get Leigh back into the game is give them possession. So as cute and as confident as that looks from Mikey Lewis and Kane Lynette, this is just what Willie Peters won't be wanting from his team. The message will be ruthless now, be clean with the ball, and that, for me, is the only way that Leigh will get back into it if OKR start making those errors again.
It's a novelty this evening for Hull KR supporters. They haven't seen their side on this ground very much in the last few weeks. In fact, this is the first since July the 28th, when the Castleford Tigers were in town. But they will see a bit more of them in the last 5 rounds. 3 of the last 5 are at Craven Park for KR as they look to secure a top 6 place. Here is Mulhern, once of Hull Kingston Rovers, Robbie Mulhern. Made 110 appearances for the club as he plays the ball. On the last, Lachlan Lamb with a little kick, and Walker comes across, then loses his footing, and Charnley pounces.
Rare field position for the Leigh Leopards. Just 6 occasions they've managed to play the ball in their opponent's half, as opposed to 28 for Hull KR. So positionally, and in terms of applying pressure, it's all been the home side, and it's been to our right as we've been watching this game.
Tom Opicic, who's gone about his work in the centres very quietly and efficiently since joining the club. Nothing quiet about Mikey Lewis. Very lively, busy player. And very much a crowd favourite, Ryan Hall.
But he hasn't overplayed his hand tonight, Mikey Lewis. I felt when he was playing fullback there was a little bit of overplay. He's chasing the ball all over the field. It's a more disciplined, more controlled game from him so far.
Schneider. Charnley underneath it. Runs it back. Batchelor there to stop him.
Boy, he's in trouble.
Charnley felt that.
It's ribs again,
Those ribs, isn't it? Yeah, he was warming up very gingerly.
Now then, here is Tom Briscoe. personal milestone for him. His professional career began in the city of Hull, Tom Briscoe, in 2008. Gareth O'Brien.
Move! Get back here, come on. 3, hold. Go 3.
33 minutes on the clock as Mulhern comes storming forward and Dean Hadley cuts him down. Ipape, Matt Davis, onto Lamb. O'Brien. Gildart now. Had a disappointing time in Australia. Back in Super League now. Little kick ahead. It's a good one and it's well dealt with Parsile. There were chasers there for the Leopards.
Yeah, with John Asiata now off the field for Leigh, it's going to be a different challenge attacking. We've got Matt Davis on there, who you know, strong carrier of the ball, but certainly not as good at moving the ball as John Asiata. Just an indication of how hard Leigh's middles work. 27 tackles from Robbie Mulhern, 23 from Edwin Ipape, and 20 for Asiata, who's now off the field. It's a real focus on Hull KR about burning the oxygen out of those Leigh middles' lungs.
30-0 Saints lead at the Castleford Tigers. And it's still first. Ryan Hall just swatting Tom Amon aside there.
And an offload off the back of it. We make that 9 times that Leigh Leopards have not managed to make the tackle or control the ball after contact.
Here is Batchelor and Hull KR looking to really ram home their advantage before half-time. They already lead by 20 points to 0. They are looking for more here, and Ben Reynolds has to come to the rescue. They've got the bit between their teeth now.
It's a good kick, isn't it, on the front foot. And look at Ryan Hall here. Powerful, powerful player. And not just that power, but that intelligence. And the hooker, Matt Parcell, chasing up the kick. And Ben Reynolds, I think any other game, he takes that and he tries to get out of his own in-goal area. But on that occasion, he just wants it out the back field.
It's a short one from Gareth O'Brien.
Has it gone the distance?
Too short.
Nope. Oh dear, that about sums up the first half of this game from the Leigh perspective.
I think you'd take 2 here, Wilco, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I don't think it'll make an awful difference. Yeah, it's almost like rubbing salt in the wounds, isn't it?
Yeah, I just think you can keep the scoreboard ticking over. As well, Hull KR have just made a couple of errors. You know, there's a lot to be said for just taking a bit of heat out of it.
He's had happier moments on this ground as Gareth O'Brien. Thank you, Ian.
He has.
You remember that
Yes.
£1 million game, 2016 for Salford? I can see it now.
I think you and I were stood, or
We were up here.
virtually in the same position, weren't we?
Just going back to the kick from Schneider, smart kick from Schneider that forced a dropout. He caught Gareth O'Brien, who's defending on the short side to make defensive numbers equal a fullback's job. Schneider spotted that in the space behind.
So Schneider to tag on 2 more points for Hull KR, extend their lead to 24 points to 0. Half-time approaching. David Hodgson, member of the Hull KR coaching team, joins us from the sideline. And David, you have got to be really, really satisfied with what the side served up so far.
Yeah, they're showing the pushing with each other with player shape. I think we found the balance tonight from a couple of weeks ago. I think we was more one out a couple of weeks ago. This week, Minchella's stepped up and he's getting loads of shape around him, which is creating a quick tempo game for us.
And I mean, I think you've had one moment of sort of defensive work to do, and you've been playing the game in Leigh territory the rest of the time.
Yeah, the boys have been really disciplined with the last plays. Probably didn't need the run option. I think it was on with Briscoe sitting right back, but we just need to be disciplined, keep finishing in good areas and keep putting the pressure on Leigh, playing out the deep areas.
And I suppose the message at half-time, David, is going to be don't let them back into the game.
Yeah, exactly. I think the boys are just chatting about some bad memories on this ground, and we just need to stay disciplined, like I say, and keep doing the right things, and hopefully the scoreboard keeps ticking over.
Thanks, David.
No worries, thank you.
24 points to 0. 37 minutes on the clock. Here is Elliot Minchella. Big influence. Drifted out of Super League, didn't he, for a while?
Yeah. London, Sheffield. Had to be patient. Bradford, of course, where he's originated from, but a wonderful player and a great contributor here tonight.
Another tester for Briscoe. He's dropped the ball and Lewis has picked it up, and Mikey Lewis has capitalised on that. But has he satisfied the referee as far as scoring the try goes? Jack Smith reckoned it's a try. It's the onside offsides that is under scrutiny this time for Chris Kendall.
Okay, so tackle 5, we've got a live call, a try. We're checking onside, offside. Pause the ball on the foot. Okay, so Sam Luckley is offside. Everyone else is onside. So let's see what involvement Luckley has in the play, or if the kicker puts him back on. The kicker doesn't put him back onside. Okay, just pause it on this shot if you can, please. Just roll it back on this shot, please. Just pause it on the catch. Yes, please. If you can pause it on the catch, please. So Luckley is offside. He's not allowed to get inside the 10 metres of the catch. And he isn't, so I'm okay to play on to this point. So can we now look at the catch, please, and what happens? Okay, Linnett and Sean Kenny-Dowell, Briscoe as well. Okay, it's hard to tell on that angle. Have we got anything else? Again, it's difficult to kind of... Yeah, this is the one. Okay. Kenny-Dowell. Okay, can we roll it back on this angle, please? Okay, who touches the ball? All from Kenny-Dowell, looks by Kenny-Dowell. Okay, yeah, I'm happy at this point. I just need to check this last touch. Does that ball go forward in relation to the ground? Can we just run it back, please? The wide angle might be the best one to judge on this. So I'm happy there's no knock on until... Yeah, I'll tell you when to pause it, please. If we can just run it through, we can go nice and slow. So I'm happy there's no knock on by Linnett or Kenny-Dowell. And then it goes backwards. We've got a live call to try. The referee's in a good position, and that's the call he's made on field. So I'm happy to go with that. Go straight through to the grounding, please. Lewis in possession and grabs the ball. I'm happy I do the angles I need. I've made my decision.
All smiles for Mikey Lewis as he celebrates his 9th try of the season, and it was Sean Kenny-Dowell in there again, helping to sow chaos in the back for the Leigh Leopards, and Mikey Lewis capitalised.
Sean Kenny-Dowell again heaping pressure on the 400-man Tom Briscoe. When this kick goes up, the intent of the run of Sean Kenny-Dowell and all this after bit is brilliant. And Mikey Lewis makes no mistake, but the person I want to pay credit to is Sam Luckley. We had that nonsense last week at Wakefield about a play, I think it was Batchelor, called back offside. And when Sam Luckley was told by the referee, he automatically goes into reverse. It was Matty Ashurst last week. Yeah. Ridiculous way to count out a try. And that man has learned, has listened, went into reverse, and the referee had no reason to count it out.
Back-to-back tries for Mikey Lewis. He got a try against Saints last week in the defeat. And Schneider presented with another difficult conversion. This one is back on target after 2 misses. Schneider hits the target, and OKR very much on target. Half-time approaching, 30 points to 0.
Yeah, just ironically, it came off probably Mikey Lewis's worst kick of the half. He dropped short. He's disappointed with the kick in the background. But I love this. Watch his reaction. Watch Mikey Lewis react. Ben Reynolds doesn't react, Mikey Lewis does. And that's why he scores a try. And that's why he scores many tries. Because when people stop moving, Mikey Lewis's off-the-ball movements put him in fantastic positions that other players just don't get into.
3rd try of the season, in fact, against Leigh for Mikey Lewis. This, of course, the 4th time these two sides have met in Super League and in Cup this season, and Leigh have won all 3 of the previous meetings, but Hull KR very much on course for revenge here tonight.
I mentioned the offloads. That's the 10th from Hull KR. Leigh Leopards, well, they've got 0. Never been in a position to offload.
Whoa.
And it's a consistent picture, isn't it? Ryan Hall offloads, Sean Kenny-Dal carry off the back of it, Rook's a bit scattered, Matt Parcell running, and it's too predictable how they're playing. It's very difficult to stop when you're exhausted.
Hull KR supporters salute their side after a dominant first half performance. KR going into this game having lost their last 3, maybe a little bit low on confidence. Coach Willie Peters making 1 or 2 changes, and it's all worked out for them so far. Leigh Leopards not used to this sort of punishment, looking for a response. They trail by 30 points to 0.
A quite remarkable first 40 minutes from this round 23 game for the Betfred Super League. Seeking their first win of the season over the Leigh Leopards, Hull KR have a half-time lead of a very healthy 30 points. This is 50 days from the 2023 Old Trafford Grand Final. Will we see Hull KR there? Will we see the Leigh Leopards there?
Yeah. Let's go. I go the hardest. I bring the pain.
Johnston with a flying finish.
It's all part of the game.
What a try that is from Leeds. What strength to get that down.
Go hard. Go hard.
Make sure you join us tomorrow evening, 5 to 6. We're on air on Sky Sports Arena for first, as it stands, v second. The Catalan Dragons against the Wigan Warriors on Sky Sports Arena. As I say, it's first v second as it stands, because St Helens, who are in action tonight, will jump into second spot if they close out their victory over the Castleford Tigers, which looks highly likely. They lead 30-0. with Tommy Makinson, the talismanic winger for the Saints, bagging a brace in that game. Salford are 14-0 to the good against bottom of the table Wakefield. Ryan Brierley and Andy Ackers scoring for Paul Rowley's side. We have a remarkable half-time scoreline here at Sewell Group Craven Park as Hull KR lead 30-0 against the Leigh Leopards side they have failed to defeat in 3 league and cup games so far this season. Well, it's been a near perfect first 40 minutes for Willie Peters' side. Defensively, very, very good. Just 2 tackles missed. Look at the tackles made mark for the Leigh Leopards. 187 to just 81 for Hull KR. I just wonder how much juice that will take out of the tank. Play the balls in the opposition half. 30 for the home side. Just 8 for Adrian Lamb's visitors. Jamie Jones Buchanan and Phil Clark, our guests here, pitch side in the east side of Hull. And I bet both of you could not for a minute have predicted that we would be dealing with a 30-0 half-time scoreline.
I reckon Hull might win it by about 6. I underestimated them, Brian. They've blown them out of the water. I did pick them. I thought they'd serve up additional revenge, and they've done it. They've been ruthless. They've been clinical. They've had loads of energy in there. And Willie Peters wanted a response from his men. Well, wow, has he got one? Talked about how adversity can bring teams together. That's the best example of it, Brian.
Well, let's look through the first 40 minutes, Phil. The action from it was a rumbustious start to the game.
Yeah, tip tackle there from Edwin Ipape. Penalty to the Hull KR side. And from this point on, really, they just rolled with their possession. They played quicker than their opponents. They took full advantage of every opportunity, took the 2-0 to get themselves off and running.
And then a great line run here by Sean Kenny-Dal in his final season as a professional. Well, he's rolling back the clock here.
Oh, he's been sensational. Talk about leadership, and some of the stats that he produces was thrown up. I love this kid, Elliot Minchella. It's all going through him, isn't it? And Schneider squares up, gives it to Sean Kenny-Dal, just slams that left foot down.
Forward pass?
Gets some. Nah, I reckon it's pretty cool. Momentum rule. And there he is again, just running as predicted. He'd go through the middle. I think he's out. Asiata is getting the ball in his hands. He's running strong. He's elusive. He's difficult to deal with. And this is a wonderful try from Minichella.
Yeah, Minchella, Hull KR's John Asiata, Phil. He's hugely important returning to the side tonight.
He's been massive for them, and he's, I think, probably a determination after a disappointment of what happened at Wembley for him personally with the sin bin in, and also for the team as well. So I think he's responded to the criticism levelled at him there. You can see his individual stats in that match. But the challenge that the coach threw down to him this week is one that he's clearly lifted from.
OK, a couple of tries for Hull KR. One on the left side by Ryan Hall, their left winger. One on the right side by Lewis Senior, their right winger. Two of them scored, finished, I should say, in very contrasting styles.
Yeah, and again, started at the scrum line through Minchella and Snyder. Look at the outfoot, step there and flick from Michael Lewis. Ryan Hall, that looks like he's diving through his patio doors there, landing on some concrete. It looks like he's done his back in a little bit, but look at the execution. Outside foot, just skips to Tommy Briscoe, flicks it out the outside there, and wonderful precision foot put down from Ryan Hall.
Both ends of the fields, he's been sensational. I just wonder, is Lewis Senior almost too tall? It's a very awkward finish that brings him closer to the sideline than it needed to be.
I think he's probably got some work to do on his grounding of the ball when he gets into these situations. He's clearly got some speed, and he takes the pass in well behind him. He's maybe difficulty with the ball to that left-hand side there. He manages to get it down just about, but I think there might be some work going on with that.
All right, 24-0 to Hull KR at that stage. No way you could see Hull Leigh coming back into this game if it blew out any further. It did through a Mikey Lewis try. Now, some controversy over this. We covered Castleford against Wakefield last week, where a try was disallowed when a player was within 10 of a man waiting to receive a ball. Sam Luckley, on this occasion, judged to be outside the 10.
Let's first be clear. It doesn't matter whether he's moving forward or back. If he's within 10 metres, that's offside and the try will be disallowed. I'd have to beg the question of the degree of accuracy or tolerance that we've got here. If we're saying that that's not 10 metres, we've measured that how? I can't see really there that we've thrown that up here. He is within 10 metres. I think that we have to question whether having a video ref at every game is good use of money for the game if we've got that level of inaccuracy.
All right, try has been given, Jamie. 30 points to 0. This now for Hull KR is I suppose a springboard back into the playoffs and resurrecting their season.
It's a revival, and he's probably talking about it now, what could be a fruitful season, the way they want to finish 2023. He give him a few days off. He says, clear it out of your mind, forget about what's gone on the last couple of weeks, let's start again with the potential that we've got in these changing rooms. And wow, have they shown what potential they've got, Brian.
The stories in this season are changing continuously. For Leeds, it was tremendous. It was a Wembley win. Now it's back-to-back defeats they're staring down the barrel of.
I think there's more than that. The next 40 minutes for Leigh are very important. They may not come back and win this game, but they could lose the season if they play poorly in the next 40. And there's a massive question mark here now about the desire, the commitment, and the level of interest now for this game and the rest of 23.
It reminds me of 2014, played in a Challenge Cup final with a Leeds team who didn't win another game all season. That was it. You know, talking about bouncing back from adversity and how that can galvanise a team. Well, you can put your shopping bags down as well when you've got a little bit of success. Adrian Lamb's going to earn his wage this week by remotivating the boys, telling them what it could look like.
And that sets us up beautifully for a second 40 minutes here at the east side of Hull. We've got the home side with a commanding half-time lead that come at some cost to George King. Stitches in the face. Update on that shortly. But it is Leigh with all the work to do to drag themselves anyway back into this game. The season efforts of 12 Super League clubs will soon be boiled down to 6 and further condensed to 2. A lucky 2 that on the Saturday, October the 14th, will run out in this year's grand final. 5 p.m. Sky Sports Arena and main event. We are just 50 days away. I wonder, will it include, could it include, for the first time, Hull KR and the Leigh Leopards?
Minchella, on it comes to Schneider. Schneider, short ball, and Sean Kenny down! Sean Kenny down with the first try of the night. Short pass, and it's Minchella, I think, who's got that ball down. He has. He's just powered his way through. Minchella, on it comes to Schneider. Schneider, on it goes to Mikey Lewis. Lewis weaving, stepping. Lovely ball, Ryan Hall. Oh, acrobatic finish.
5 tries without response for the home side, much to the delight of the thousands of Hull KR fans crammed here inside the east side of Hull. What have the Leigh Leopards got in response? Let's find out by going back to Bill Arthur for the second half of this round 23 fixture from the Betfred Super League.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, Hull KR in control at the moment. A change of fortune for them as far as Leigh Leopards goes, because this is the third meeting between the two sides, and Leigh were comprehensive winners at their place, 34 points to 4. They won here, 30 points to 25. They won at Wembley, of course, 17 points to 16. But they have been very much second best so far tonight.
Yeah, it looked a very sombre Leigh dressing room, didn't it? I'd be very surprised if Adrian Lamb's not fired a few shots in there just to provoke some sort of reaction from his team. Outplayed in every department by classy Hull KR performance there.
Well, for me, the body language of both sides as they were leaving the field was in stark contrast. The Robins, smiles, good body language, shoulder back, and more or less jogging off the field because they still had bags of energy left.
I know, they've only made 6 tackles or something this game.
Early moments of the second half. Let's get some more news on George King from Jenna.
George King came off early in that first half after a nasty cut to his cheek. Well, I can tell you, Gemma Phillips, the club doctor, has stitched that right up. There you go, 15 stitches in that cheek. Bill, 15 stitches. This game is tough because he is coming back in the next few moments.
Very tidy job as well. So Leigh looking to start this second half with a bit of positivity, and Lamore, dear me, the ball spilled.
Wow.
And
Wow.
Hull KR snaffle it inside Leigh territory. Oh dear. And here is Tom Opacic.
Could get embarrassing for Leigh.
Well, that was just so uncharacteristic of the Lance Todd Trophy winning Lachlan Lamb, the man whose drop goal won that Challenge Cup final, of course. And now Hull KR can immediately capitalise and put pressure on the visitors. Anxious looking coach. Here is Minchella. Minchella busy. Gets the pass away nicely to Mikey Lewis. Hardacre misses him. Lewis stepping run from him. And Lewis! Mikey Lewis gets the try. His second of the night. Oh, calamity for the Leopards. And immediately, Hull KR capitalise and dash any hopes of the Leigh Leopards coming up with an immediate response at the start of the second half. It's the Robins who struck first.
Well, 2 minutes on the clock. Hull KR, with that extra energy, look to take control of this second half really early. It may well have been, here's the mistake from Lachlan Lamb. Target slightly off, fumbles it trying to regather possession. It may well be Mikey Lewis that dabs it down. Put it down to that offload, and the reaction from that offload, beautiful footwork and strength.
It's some finish,
but
isn't it?
Elliot Minchella is having a wonderful game.
There's still so much to do though when Mikey Lewis gets the ball. It's a stunning offload from Minchella, but Mikey Lewis, he doesn't lose speed when he changes direction. Most players lose a bit of speed in that situation. He seems to just maintain his speed through tight movements, and like I said, a balanced runner. He's been exceptional for Hull KR tonight. Every opportunity they've created, it seems like Mikey Lewis has been around it. Minchella and Lewis just creating so much havoc in this Leigh defence.
Mikey Lewis's second try double of the season, also got a brace against the Saints. So Schneider adds the extras. Extras, 36 points to 0.
Yeah, they've got off to a flying start here in the second half. Just finishing where they left off, and it's Minchella again. Influential, an offload which has been signature from Hull KR all night, and then Mikey Lewis, just really difficult to handle. That's some finish. I'm telling you, once he gets that ball in his hands, he's got a great defender in Zach Hardacre in his presence, and then exceptional footwork and strength. Top finish.
Well, Willie Peters talked about supporting the ball carrier, talked about push through support. They've definitely done that, but also when it's made available as well, good reactions.
On the sidelines, watching on, assistant coach for the Leigh Leopards, Tony Clubb. And Tony, what was the message at half-time to the side?
It was a pretty tough one, to be fair, but just we need to sort our D out. We're a million miles off the standards we set ourselves, and all our detail, our line speed, just everything's not with us at the moment. So we need to sort that out pretty quick, otherwise it can be an embarrassing day for us.
Do you think fatigue is playing a part tonight, Tony?
I don't think so, no. We tried keeping them pretty fresh all week. We only had one training session, so I'm not into all that. Or yes, not training, all that. They're trained and they train hard, but they've had one session this week. Fatigue's just an excuse for me.
So you've been your own worst enemy tonight so far, haven't you, really?
Pretty much, yeah. We're shooting ourselves in the foot, and all our effort areas, all those little moments in games, we're just not winning them. Credit to Hull KR, they're just, they're battling hard and they're winning the ruck, which is slowing us down. They're just winning every effort area in the game there for us. So we're a million miles off at the moment, and we need to sort that out.
Tony Clubb, thanks for talking to us, because that's a really brutal and honest assessment, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's bang on. He knows better than us, but yeah, they've just been out-competed in every area. Specifically in areas where Leigh have been good. Line speed, intensity of contact, controlling the speed of the play of the ball. Well, Hull KR have just dominated every facet like that.
You just cannot play at your optimum level week in, week out. We credited Leigh when they went to Leeds Rhinos with a full side. We also, the week after the Challenge Cup, complimented so many players backing up. They may well have been better against the league leaders, maybe resting a few and letting them get over those knocks and bumps, but here we go, they're in the thick of it here now.
Hull KR leading by 36 points to 0. Real scrap going on for the top 6 places, especially 5 and 6.
2 points, Bill, between 5th position and 9th position. It's been the best year I can remember for how close it's been all over the field.
Oh, Ryan Hall's lost that ball at Warrington, Hull KR, Salford, Hull, Leeds. Warrington, there you go, actually. As it stands, Warrington are out of the top 6 from first.
Wow.
Flying at the top of the table, now down to 7th and out. Of course, game to come for them. Hull KR back in the top 6.
What a story for Warrington.
I think the issue for Leigh here, Barry, I agree, teams have ups and downs, don't they? You can't play your best rugby all year, but you don't want this to become that bad that it leaves a scar on you. This game, they've got to get something out of this game, whether it's just some momentum within the game.
The pass goes behind Charnley, and Charnley can't retrieve it, and the ball snapped up by Opicic.
The cohesion and the slickness that we're so used to seeing Leigh Leopards play with is just a little bit off. You talked about a scar, Wilco. They might need the Hull KR doctor to stitch it up for them. They've made a good job of George King, haven't they?
Oh, no.
Referee Jack Smith has brought them back for the knock-on. It's going to be Hull KR's head and feet. Or no, Hull's ball, in fact. Jack Smith just explaining there, and it's the Charnley knock-on. The good news for Hull KR is that Jordan Abdul isn't far away from coming back. He was...
We saw some pictures of him
warming up before the game. Well, not warming up, he was doing some training, wasn't he?
Yeah. Getting some conditioning in. He's imminent, I think, the next couple of weeks, and they've missed him, they've missed his direction, but they're playing well without him this evening.
Schneider and Mikey Lewis look like a great combination in the halves. their combination tonight has been really clean. So Jordan Abdul, yeah, for sure he'll get back in, but it's a great dilemma for Willie Peters to have.
I think
Luckily with the ball.
I think people with a good memory will remember Michael Dobson, who served Hull KR with great distinct, and he has elements in his game of the great Michael Dobson does Snyder.
It's Minchella who manages to offload that ball in the middle of a bunch of bodies. Oh, unluckily so close to getting the pass away, but quick play the ball from him. Lewis staggering, unable to keep the ball, and it's knocked on, and it'll be the turnover.
You know, John Wells spoke about push support. When they get certain aspects of the game right, they push support. Well, although Mikey Lewis makes a mistake there, the play before, I think it was Luckley, just had a flood of people pushing to support him, and it's easy to do that when you've got energy, and they've got energy here. The challenge is to do that when they're in a hole energy-wise, and that's when it becomes difficult, and you have to be more disciplined in doing it, but they've done that really well here tonight.
It's near enough, the percentage of possession is near enough the same as it's been all night, 70-30, give or take. They've had all the possession, they've had all the pressure, and they've been on the back foot all evening, the Leopards.
And their strike players just haven't had an opportunity, but they've got a set restart. I think that's the first time the hooter has sounded in their favour this evening. Just inside their own half. Here is Edwin Ipape, and here is Matt Davis now. Leigh Leopards venturing into Hull KR territory. Benny Reynolds now, and Jack Hughes.
It's a penalty for a late,
late challenge. Yeah. I think that's the first time we've seen one of them.
It's Leigh's first penalty of the game.
Leigh Leopards are masters at this, aren't they? Taking it right to the line. And Ben Reynolds, in particular, is a player that gets some attention. Reynolds and Lachlan Lamb.
It's Reynolds who is down.
Is that the third or the fourth player that's taken a knock and just not quite been able to walk it off?
Leigh have travelled well this season. Their win at Leeds the week before Wembley in Super League, 13 points to 6, was their 7th from 11 away matches, which has been the foundation of their challenge in the top 6. Well, one of the foundations. That penalty then gives them good territory. A false start. Jack Smith calling everybody back. Can Leigh trouble the scorer? And again. Now we resume. Here is Jack Hughes. Leigh's top tackler in the Challenge Cup final. He plays the ball. Ipape. Ben Reynolds, short pass, Wardle coming strongly onto it, the Scottish international. Tackled by Elliot Minchella. Ipape again. Reynolds taking them on, but runs into a posse of Hull KR defenders. Stopped a few metres away from that try line. Ipape, short ball from him, and Kai O'Donnell trying to roll his way over. He is held up just short. Here is Reynolds once more. Jack Hughes, Jack Hughes trying to shift it on very quickly to Gareth O'Brien, but the pass wouldn't stick.
You can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to turn that ball up and create an extra number, taking a couple of defenders out, but when he catches the ball, he's no vision and awareness of where his support player is. And just probably sums up the night.
Yeah, just forcing it, frantic. Just stick to your knitting, Leigh. You know what you've been great at all year. Stick to it. Just do that.
Did you say knitting then?
Yeah, it's the saying.
Where?
Well,
in your house?
Yeah, it's actually.
As Rhys Kennedy or Minchella did well there, because Ipape was desperate to try and get his hands on the ball, and I think in the end Ipape knocked it on, or did he not? No, Leigh get the ball back.
Yeah, I think Hull KR knocked this ball on. It's an offload for another offload from Elliot Minchella. Who can blame him for trying? I think Schneider is the player that eventually knocks the ball forward.
scrappy from the Robins, who leads 36 points to 0 here. Still a way to go in this game, and the Leopards looking to salvage a bit of pride at the very least.
Shot clock off, heads in. Shot clock, lads, you've got to get a bit of a bind at least. Come on, I'll make some effort. You've got to get your bind up with your hooker.
Bit of a scruffy scrum.
Lessons in front row etiquette at the cold face.
Is there such a thing?
Well, he's doing it. That's what the ref's saying to him. Get your arm round, get binded.
It's going to give a dangerous lift. It's Brad Schneider who got one off Edwin Apape early in the game. Now he's been penalised with a dangerous tackle. I'm interested to see that. It didn't look an awful lot dangerous about it.
Penalty though for the Leigh Leopards, so they're enjoying a bit of possession here, but a bit of territory. Here you go, John.
Wait here, wait.
I mean, that's
it's on a par with that one from Apape on Schneider, wasn't it?
It's consistent.
It's Leigh though, who are about 5 metres away from that Hull KR line and looking for points. Set restart signals. Ben Reynolds, Gareth O'Brien, Hall very quickly off his wing to make the tackle there.
Lovely read from Ryan Hall. Not had a lot defensively to do, but a lovely defensive read there.
But can they withstand the pressure now? Here is Wardle. Once to the Huddersfield Giants. Joe Wardle, Apape, Tom Amon, Leigh nibbling away at this Hull KR defence, trying to find a way through. Lamb floats the ball over the top into the arms of Charnley. They do find a way through. And Josh Charnley strikes for his 23rd of the season. And the ball drifting over the top of the Hull KR defenders. And Leigh get points on the board.
Well, that's the lethal Leigh left edge that we've seen all year. But it came from a penalty for a dangerous throw on Oliver Gildart, and that just gave Leigh, for the first time in this game, a period of possession. And then it's Lachlan Lamb and the usual characters on the left-hand side of the field. And how often have we seen that this year? Josh Charnley dotting the ball down after the back of fantastic work inside him. Great ball.
Cast your mind back to March. That's the corner he dabbed the ball in to get that win for the Leigh Leopards. First win in Super League. It's very, very different, isn't it? Push the clock forward. Desperately trying to find a way back into this game, but a very much uphill struggle in front of them if they are.
Yeah, it's a nice line from Oliver Gildart as well. Just drew defenders in, and a lovely flighted ball from Lamb.
Josh Charnley's first try since July the 7th, without a try in his last 5 games, in actual fact. Even so, he's still second on the Super League try chart to Tom Johnston, who will be in action tomorrow, you assume, for the Catalan Dragons against Wigan in the big game of the round. Tell you what, it's going to be hot out there. By all accounts, it has been sweltering today, the high 30s. It has meant, according to my sources in Perpignan, on enthusiastic fluid intake by Wigan supporters out there, and there are quite a number of them.
I'd imagine.
In Lorette de Mar, probably.
Oh, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, we had
but they are all over the place. Take it from me, they're all over the place.
Yeah, it's lovely from Lachlan Lamb. The first thing that he's done in this game that resembles anything like what he's done in previous rounds. It's something for Leigh to get the teeth into, but it's not a lot. Yeah, we had Tyrone May from Catalan on the verdict on Sky Sports News, and he was locked up, air conditioning on, 40 degrees with the curtains shut.
It's just like that in Oldham.
No wonder he wants to come to England.
I know.
It has been, I mean, Catalan have been training at sort of 7 o'clock in the morning.
I know. It was interesting listening to both sides who were talking about the rest and recovery that they've had to do over the last 2 weeks. Steve McNamara has been doing that consistently with his side. I think he's mentioned a few times they've trained less than anybody else in the league.
Great run from Apape, has Gareth O'Brien on his shoulder, and O'Brien back to Edwin Apape, and suddenly Leigh have come to life. Great run from the PNG international hooker, and has put the Leopards in a strong position here now. Here is Tom Amon, and he is brought down. That's 4 tackles gone. They're about 5 metres away from the Hull KR try line and looking for back-to-back tries, and Lachlan Lamb almost finding a way through until Batchelor gets to grips with him. That's the 5th tackle. Lamb slowly to his feet. Little kick from Ipape and well swept up by Jack Walker, perfectly positioned.
He's been good all night, Jack Walker, whether he's been in defence or attack. He's gone and looked for some of those offloads that we've talked about, but going back to Leigh Leopards, those major players, those pivotal players, Lachlan Lamb, Edwin Ipape, Tom Amon, just injecting themselves into this game now.
Yeah, it's not surprised because they've just had a share of possession. You know, we had Mincello with a crazy offload. That gives Leigh the ball, a penalty against Schneider. And, you know, that's just allowed Edwin Ipape and these guys to get into the game. And frustratingly, Leigh conceded a penalty here off the back of a nice period of possession for them. It's a ball steal from Jack Hughes on Ryan Hall. But that just shows you the threat of Ryan Hall. There's 3 strong men in the tackle, 3 great defenders in the tackle, and they're still struggling to put him down.
So the penalty relieves the pressure.
Schneider nearly missed touch.
I think there was an ironic cheer.
He's done that before this year.
Hang on a minute. Hull KR are going to get possession here.
Yeah, I think, was it Tom Briscoe was on the sideline as he's touched it.
But the upshot of it is that Leigh, having had that little bit of territory, are now back on their own try line, or as near as damn it, and under pressure once more. Schneider, Lewis, lovely ball, quickly on to Ryan Hall. That is strength, that is experience. Is that a try though? His 2nd of the game. Jack Smith reckons it is. Ryan Hall powering his way over the try line.
Okay, it's tackle 1. We're going straight to ground in place. Ryan Hall in possession of the ball. He stays in the field of play and grounds the ball. Mappy, I've viewed the angle I need. I have made my decision.
Not much doubt about that. Never was. Ryan Hall's 2nd of the night. He has been doing that throughout his career. 35 years of age. He is a powerful, powerful winger. And Zach Hardacre was unable to stop him.
Zach Hardacre and Tom Briscoe, former teammates of his in his time at the Rhinos. Here you can see the mistake. You can see what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it. But it just simply hands possession to the Robins. And it's a brilliant finish by Ryan Hall. All the power, all the awareness, uses his opponent's weight against him, shrugs him off, and he deserves that. 17th time he's carted the ball up for over 120 metres, and he's got a try as well.
Yeah, look, Hull KR have done this so well, using the centres to run aggressive lines. Kenny Dowell runs another aggressive line, and that just creates some space and an opportunity for Mikey Lewis to get to the ball to this man, Ryan Hall. What a finisher he has been, what a career in the game he's had.
Some great recruitment here from Hull KR, from players over 30, not done, not finished, given good service.
Oh, Schneider just missing with that. We'll tell you what, Ryan Hall is 2nd to Danny Maguire in the Super League try scoring charts, all-time try scoring charts, and this one takes him to 10 behind Danny Maguire.
It's not just Ryan Hall's ability to play the game, it's the way he lives his life. An ultimate professional. Cast your mind back, he had a dreadful time with injury at Sydney Roosters, having spent all his career at the Rhinos. The Rhinos didn't fancy him when he came back from Australia, took up the opportunity to come and play here at Craven Park, and my word, he's been better than anybody could have expected. And I think it comes back to the way that he prepares, the way that he looks after himself. You can see he's a specimen in his physicality, but his diet, his He's training the way he looks after himself. He's paying dividends.
Try scoring is just such a small part of what he does. This is where he's most effective for Hull KR.
And you talk about good leaders in the environment. He'll be showing the way for some of the younger players on how to live your life.
Well, they've got him for another year of Hull KR. He's signed on for another year. Ian Proctor's just confirmed it. That's these two tries take him to 2-3-7. Danny Maguire on 2-4-7. This could be another try. The ball just getting away from Opicic, but the referee's called them all way back. Yeah, 2-3-7 versus 2-4-7. Another year of Ryan Hall. There's every chance he's going to overhaul Danny Maguire. They'll be at the same club.
Danny Maguire may well be picking him in the front row next year, just so he can still give him the same output. Here's the forward pass from Opicic. Yeah, it is. He knows, doesn't it? Almost perfect.
For a forward pass on 40.
Hull KR, you know, I think they'll be delighted with this performance in so many ways. Obviously, the scoreboard's exceptional for them, but I think their attitude and their intent, you know, has been bob on right from the start. I thought they brought an intensity to the game that Leigh couldn't and haven't been able to cope with. And Leigh have been their own worst enemy. Like, I'm
not focusing on Leigh, Wilco. I just want to compliment and pay tribute to a side that's been beaten 3 times, one in the biggest game of the season so far. I'm sure I heard Danny Maguire shout from his coach's box, do not give it to Ryan Hall. Get him off.
Yeah, this will be, in terms of Super League defeats, this will be a sweet revenge for Hull KR, but nothing is going to make up for losing in Golden Point extra time at Wembley.
No, it's 2 weeks too late for them, isn't it? And to some extent, but it keeps the playoff dream alive for them. And how important is that? You know, Willie Peters could have an exceptional season, get to the Challenge Cup final, then drift out the playoffs, and then it just leaves that dull taste, that dull sort of sense of what the season's been about in the Hull KR fans' minds.
Benakubawai playing the ball. Joe Mellor is on the field, Gareth O'Brien, and O'Brien with Mikey Lewis dragging him towards the sidelines. Here is Mellor. Mellor, that looked forwards. It was touch judge and referee working in conjunction there.
Yeah, the sight's off again, aren't they? They're just not quite where they are. And that's a good metre and a half forward. Mikey Lewis defensively trying to get him over that sideline, but Hull KR with everything to aim for. Didn't make the playoffs last year. Very much in the sights for Willie Peters, Danny Maguire, Brett Delaney. I was listening to James Batchelor talking about some of the input Brett Delaney had on his game. They're blessed with great back rowers at the club. Batchelor, Kane Lynette, Dean Hadley, who was on the bench. So good workmen, good craftsmen, all adds to a terrific side.
Here is Tom Opicic. And the referee...
I think it's a late challenge again.
Just taking his time there, Jack Smith. I think, again, he's got a word in his ear. Minchella on the receiving end.
Oh, we need to get a grip of this. Sorry. You know, Minchella's, you know, ruined the fact that he's been binned in the Challenge Cup final. I mean, there's minimal in it. I don't think there's a lot in it. I've been hit when I pass the ball a lot, and I don't think you very rarely will go down with such force unless there was a genuine sort of a head injury. Saying that, Minchella comes off for a rest more than anything. He's been exceptional, hasn't he? What a game for Minchella.
Takes his seat on the bench, George King.
God, it's not looking good.
Despite the stitches.
He looks like a cross between Mr. Bump and Adamant. Our younger viewers will like that Adamant reference. To be going, who? Who's he? Prince Charming.
Oh, don't start.
I know.
Jez Litton on the fields, and he'll bring some vigorosity to this whole KR side. There's been plenty of it already this evening. Dean Hadley, Schneider, Sean Kenny-Dowell trying to untangle himself and get the offload away, but it only ends up in Leigh Leopard's hands. O'Brien frustrated. It is It's a frustrating night, especially for Tom Briscoe, who's hoping things would turn out better on his 400th career appearance. He's done really well against Hull KR, Tom Briscoe, in his career. He made a debut for the Leeds Rhinos in 2014 in round 1, and he got a hat-trick against Hull KR. He got 5 tries against them in that cup final route in 2015, but hasn't had an opportunity this evening, Tom Briscoe. Here is Oliver Gildarts. A Robin next season, Gildarts. Lachlan Lamb. Mellor stuttering from this Leigh Leopard side. Ipape plays the ball. Matt Davis. Rhys Kennedy with a big hit.
A bit more confident in that ball movement. As we've said a number of times, when it comes down to the energy battle, Hull KR are way in front. That's the reason they're making better tackles, better decisions. It's Kennedy who puts the tackle on a more.
Wakefield's beaten, back-to-back defeats for them. Salford 20 points to 0, and St Helens have won emphatically at the Castleford Tigers, who are second from bottom. So as you were at the bottom of the table, not as you were inside the top 6. Changes tonight, and no doubt with games coming up over the weekend, there'll be more changes. But as it stands, Hull KR are back in the top 6. There you go. St Helens up to second, ahead of Wigan's game against the Catalan Dragons tomorrow. As mentioned, you can see it on Sky Sports. It is going to be some game that is, despite the heat. I understand that they've brought in an extra stand to cope with the enthusiasm for that game. It's always a big game when Wigan come to town, but given the standing of the two sides in the table, everybody wants to be there, including the Wigan contingent. I'm not exactly sure where they're going to put their extra stands.
Well, it's always a special game. It was the opening fixture in the history of the Catalan Dragons back in 2006, and of course those two teams in 2019 met in Barcelona. But there'll be no hospitality shown until after the whistle, Bill.
There's Gildarts. Ben Nakumba now, Fijian international. He got his first try of the season against the Catalan Dragons last weekend, did Nakumba as Lachlan Lamb wearily puts the kick in and finds touch.
Play the ball, Mikey, middle.
Josh Charnley, see him there clutching his ribs. He's been struggling through this game, still managed to get his name on the scoreboard. Leigh's only points of the contest. And here is Ryan Hall. 2 tries to his name tonight. Lewis playing the ball. Jez Litton.
A lot around the play of the ball now with those late offloads, trying to tire the big man out again.
I can't believe Sean Kennedy-Dow's retiring. It's just mental. I don't think he's played better rugby than he's been playing. The last few weeks he's been just sensational.
Oh, nice work. Kennedy, the run around with Jez Litton. Litton onto Sean Kennedy-Dow. Ryan Hall looking for his hat-trick. He won't get it, but Kane Lynette will get the try. Lovely try from Hull KR. And Ryan Hall, just for a moment, it looked as though he might get the glory, but he unselfishly set it up for Kane Lynette. And Hull KR hit 44 points. Kane Lynette's 6th try of the season.
And it could be a big night. It's a big night for points difference as it gets tight around that 6. How important might this be? A 40-point blowout score to Hull KR. And if it comes down to points difference, it may well come back to tonight where Hull KR you know, are in such a good spot. The Hull KR fans are celebrating and loving this, and why not? What's not to love? Jeslerton runs out a dummy half. Offloads, which we've seen all night. And then it's beautiful hands from the man, Sean Kenny-Dowell. I've got a campaign. Get Kenny-Dowell a contract. Kane Lynette with the finish. He can't retire. I'm telling him.
SKD, it should be.
Get him a contract.
I think he's got a contract. I think he's making the decision.
Just, well, don't. I want to see him play again. He's that good. And him and Ryan Hall together are lethal. Absolutely lethal. What about the strength and the pirouette from Ryan Hall, who sets up the try for Lynette?
The speed, the skill, strength and a pirouette, and the big red machine manages to get on the scoreboard to the delight of those fans.
You talk about the influence of Sean Kenny-Dowell, but that man Kane Lynette has been a big influence as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's his 5th season with Hull KR, the former North Queensland Cowboy, and he's another influential figure.
Yeah, that left side for Hull KR. We speak about Leigh's left, and we spoke about it all year. Well, Hull KR's left ain't bad.
Schneider on target again, and Hull KR hit their highest score of the season in Super League, 46 points to 4.
Ruck speed has been an issue all night, and a strength of Hull KR all night. That's the reason it's a broken defensive line. That's the reason when a speculative offload goes back, it goes into the arms of a Robins player. They're all on the same sheet. They're all expecting the ball and getting around to receive those passes. Great work from Ryan Hall again.
Yeah, you're right about Lynette, Bill. It's a great point to make, and really fantastic to reference him. He's been exceptional for Hull KR, and it speaks to the recruitment. Hull KR's recruitment's been good. They've taken people at the back end of the career, got the best out of them. They've taken unknown names, got the best out of them. And you look at people like Lynette Batchelor, who's just been, you know, an exceptional signing. And then you look at how they've recruited for next year. Well, Hull KR, with the board of directors, with how the club's going off the field and how the team's now bearing up on the pitch, could be a force to be reckoned with in years to come.
8 tries so far to the Robins.
20.
And the boot of Brad Schneider doing some damage as well.
Sorry, Bill, that's the 23rd offload Hull KR have got away in this match. Just 4 the Leigh Leopards have.
24.
But Leigh Leopards will know that they've not been at the standards they've set this season tonight. Way short.
Nowhere near. And the question for me is, what does Adrian Lamb do with it? Because you can overanalyze it. You know, I've been in video rooms where your coach comes in fizzing after a really poor performance and gives it to you for 2 or 3 days. And I've also been in dressing rooms where the coach goes, right, that one's in the bin, lads, move on. Be interested to see how he plays it. It's going to be an interesting few days coaching for
next
Adrian
up for them, the Giants at home, John.
Then St Helens, then Wakefield, then Wigan. You can't afford probably to overanalyze it.
No.
I suppose you're giving the Giants now outside the race for the top 6.
If you're going to produce a shocker, produce it in round 23. Is probably the message in it. If you're going to produce a bad performance, do it now, because you've got 4 or 5 weeks to get it right. And you know, you're not always going to get it right every week. To produce a performance like this right now is maybe not a bad thing for Leigh.
Meanwhile, for Hull KR, highest score of the season, 46 points to 4. As Lady Penelope would say, isn't life fun sometimes?
You were having a go at me for adamant.
What are we
That's
doing
even
here?
older, Bill.
Parker would reply, rib tickling me, lady.
Just Gen Z viewers have watched turned off yet again.
Lewis Senior playing the ball. And here is Ryan Hall and Batchelor now. They're not done yet, the Robins.
Could they get 50? They're going to get another look at that try line, aren't they?
Leigh penalised.
Who's caught your eye for the Robins?
Listen, I think Elliot Minchella, up until going off, was the best player on the field, but you can talk about a lot of that back division, can't you? Sean Kenny-Dowell, Ryan Hall. I think Jack Walker, in his 4th game for Hull KR has been solid. I think Mikey Lewis as well always catches the attention.
But this is significant for Hull KR. 3 defeats in a row, and now they're back on track, and they're looking for more points. And it's Jez Litton. Litton will get the try. And they hit 50 points. What a night it is for the Robins. Coming home after games on the road and showing their supporters what they are really about.
It just shows you how simple rugby league can be sometimes. Run with intent, break and bend the defensive line of your opponent and support the ball carrier. That's the 26th offload that Robins have got away, and every single one of them has gone to a player that's expecting it and does something better with it. Nice footwork, a beautiful presentation with the offload, and they're having fun, aren't they? That's 50, soon to be 52. Some pain was felt at Wembley, and Batchelor and his teammates, well, it won't get them the Challenge Cup, but it'll make them feel better tonight and springboard them into the next few weeks.
Brett Schneider bang in front of the posts. Banging on target. 52 points to 4.
Yeah.
No wonder they are smiling in that coaching box.
Yeah, Danny Maguire will be delighted. Willie Peters will be delighted. You know, offloads have been just a big feature of the performance. And you know what you get offloads is when you have aggression and you run with some real intent. And I think that's where Hull KR have really come over the top of Leigh from minute 1. I thought they carried the ball with an intensity and also with support around it that's made it very difficult to deal with. The huge number of offloads is purely a symptom of how much intent they've carried that ball with.
Brad Schneider, 8 successes from 11 kicks at goal, helping to put this scoreline over the 50-point margin. Highest score of the season for the Robins. And that East stand in good voice now. Oh, Schneider then's blotted his copybook, and the Leigh Leopards have it back inside that Hull KR 20.
6 again, too slow, Reece.
And can they finish the game on a positive note? Here is Rob Mulhern, who has had an outstanding season. The former Hull KR man. Ipape. Here is Lachlan Lamb. Lamb puts a little kick in, and back goes Jack Walker to make it safe.
Yeah, good position from Jack Walker. Look, it's 2 points, competition points this, Bill, for KR, but it's 48 points in the points difference tally, and I do think that's going to be huge come the end of the year for them.
Absolutely, yeah. When you look at how congested it is.
As we said, from 5th till 9 before tonight, just 2 points.
Big games coming up as well.
But not just the 2 points, not just the win. The emotional hurdle they've got over playing against Leigh, getting the goods, having come up short 3 times previous.
Yeah, they've had the yips when it comes to Leigh this year, haven't they? They've probably produced the 3 worst performances against the Leigh Leopards. So there's a big reason for Hull KR to be good, you know, after that Challenge Cup defeat. And they've really produced, haven't they? They've produced a really strong performance.
And they played a different way, Wilco. We've talked about the evolution of the Robins throughout the year, especially in those 3 losses to the same team. Well, they've evolved into a side that's beaten badly the Leopards.
Here's Matt Davis now. Davis looking to straighten things up until Kane Lynette makes the tackle. Or goes through the legs of Edwin Ipape. Here is Joe Mellor, and Mellor with a burst of pace. Reece Kennedy and Dean Hadley stopping his progress. Inside the last couple of minutes, little run around Ipape. Ipape fancies it himself, and Ipape, can he get it down? I think he's held up.
No.
Jack Smith has a very good look at that, and surely that's held up. He reckons he's got it down. At some point in that tangle, Edwin Ipapi has managed to get that ball down.
Never called the tackle complete. He's over the line.
Okay, it's tackle 4. We've got a live call of try. We're checking grounding, please. In the opinion of the referee, the ball gets to the ground with Ipapi in possession. Okay. Okay, we're probably going to have to keep running it through. Let's see what... keep running it through on this angle, please. Okay, he's always in... He's in possession. Yeah, run it through on this, please. Nice and slow. Okay, we've got a live call of try. So Ipapi keeps possession, keeps possession, keeps possession. Okay, if we run it back on that, please. I have a live call of try. There's a lot of bodies and the footage isn't great. We run it through on this, please. If this is the best angle I'm going to get, I'll make it on this, please. Okay, the ball could be down at that point. The ball is down at that point. Okay, I have insufficient evidence to overturn the live call of a try. I'm happy I've viewed the angles I need. I've made my decision.
Chris Kendall has had a busy night as the video ref, and that's one of the trickiest ones he's had to decipher. Not the prettiest of tries, but it looks as though Edwin Ipapi has got a second try of the night for the Leigh Leopards, managing to squeeze that ball down somehow.
Somehow he's right, Bill. I don't know how he gets it down. I don't know how the referee has seen it touch the floor.
How long do you have? Like 6 minutes? Can you just...
I think you've got to reward the defence.
It was a great tackle. Well, Edwin Ipapi, what a signing he's been for Leigh. He's at the centre of everything that's good. 7 tries this year, but more than that, has led the way, you know, in so many facets of the game, the energy areas of the game. This has been a tired performance from him. It's a nice subtle run around with Robbie Mulhern. It just felt like the ball was a beautiful tackle from Jess Lane. It just feels like this ball's in the air for way too long.
Finished.
It's way too long.
And if we're going to split hairs, I think there's a hand underneath. It doesn't matter, Barrett. That's what I keep saying to myself.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
it's been given.
John is right about points difference. And if Zach Hardacre converts, who knows? It's still going to be Hull KR's biggest victory of the season. Final kick of the game from Hardacre is on target. 52 points to 10. The full-time score at Sewell Group Craven Park. 9 tries for a rampant Hull KR side who've exacted some sort of revenge for recent suffering at the hands of this Leigh Leopard side. And a result that moves Hull KR back into the top 6, keeps them in the hunt for a playoff place, keeps that top 6 race really, really interesting, and just brings the Leigh Leopards back down to earth. There you go.